Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to give you a bit of a tutorial on how to upload and create your digital stamp files into scenes. I'm going to be using one that I purchased from Sweet November Stamps, as well as the sentiment from my Happy Haunting stamp set, and just creating, again, like a little scene with it. I'm going to show you how to do it in Microsoft Word because that's one of the programs that it's pretty much easy to do it in. I'm more familiar with it as well. I do all of mine in Illustrator, which I know not everyone has access to because it's an expensive subscription to have, but I use it for business and designing my stamps and everything, and we'll be doing patterns and whatnot soon. So I usually use that. But I wanted to use something that was a little bit more accessible. I did try doing this on Canva. I absolutely hated doing it on there just because I'm not familiar with the program maybe. I've never used it before. Or I might have used it once or twice for something quick just to play around, but I don't use it on a regular basis. I tried doing it in a Google Docs because it's free. You just need your Google account and to sign in for that, but that is, to me, not user friendly. I had a hard time trying to get different images together and group them and whatnot. And of course, there's tutorials on how to do all of this, but I wanted something that was easy for everyone to use. So we're going to do it this way. And I also tried doing it on Google Slides. That one actually works a lot better than Google Docs. Maybe because slides are meant for more images and text-based things than a document is. The documents are more word-based, and even for Microsoft Word it is, but it's a lot easier to use this program. So we'll just get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert, so there's pictures and shapes up here in the corner. So I've opened up a new Word document. I've already played around and created this image, so we're just going to do it again. This is Bronwyn from Sweet November Stamps. This is the Happy Halloween sentiment from my Happy Haunting set, and then I just used a circle for the moon and a rectangle for the background. So we're going to do that same thing here. So we're going to go shapes. We want a rectangle. Just click, and then you can put in your measurements here. Even if it says it's in centimeters, you can change your settings, but I just go 5.5 and then add the inch symbol, and it will automatically convert it to the centimeters. And then same with this, we want it to be 4.25 inches, and we're gonna fill the color. Actually, you can do a quick one here, white and black, but I'm gonna change the outline to be, so you're going to shape outline and then pick like a mid-tone gray. Sorry, I work in dark mode as well, guys. It's just a lot easier for me. And then I'm going to insert another shape and we'll do a circle. If you click and drag, it'll kind of do whatever. If you hold shift, it will keep it a circle. And then same with this, we're going to do black with the gray outline, just because I don't want this will be the moon. I don't want it to be super stand out-ish. And when I color it, I don't want it to have a harsh black outline. And then I'm going to insert pictures from my device, and you go find where you saved your images. Right now I have these two images saved in the folder for this YouTube video. This is the JPEG version, which gives you a white background. You don't want to use this one. You want to use the PNG with the transparent background. You can see here if I click off that it's black around the entire image because my screen is black. It's a bit easier to see in dark mode if it has a transparent background or not. My image also has transparent backgrounds, just easier for layering. So I'm going to click, hold Control and click the other one so you can select two at the same time, and then insert. And then you want this image to be layered on top, so you want it in front of text, so it'll bring it to the front. And then you might have to find this, and then this is the same. We want it to be at the front. And then you could also go to right click, bring it to front, or you can like bring it forward if it's 2 layers behind or whatever. I just don't want to bring it to the front. You want her at the front. This doesn't matter because it's going to be off to the side a little bit. But basically you're just going to move your images around until you're happy with them. So you can zoom in a bit too. I'm at 70% right now. But I'm just doing this on a regular 8.5 by 11 inch document. And I am gonna put the Happy Halloween so that it is kind of nestled in this area because it kind of fits in there perfectly. And I think that's good positioning. So I'm gonna right click and group these together because I'm happy with that placement. And now I can move the whole thing around. The moon is a bit big, so I'm gonna shrink it a bit. And then place it about there. Maybe down a bit. I wanted her broomstick to kind of like hide that one edge, so that's the way I did it there. This looks okay to me, so now I'm gonna click on an image, hold shift, and then click on the other image, right click, group again. And then for this image, I want it to be a specific height. So I'm gonna go to picture format, height, hang on, we're gonna go to size. We want to lock the aspect ratio because if you don't, it's gonna be a pain in the butt. And then I'm gonna put height is 5.5 inches. Okay, and then we might want to make it a bit smaller. Oh no, sorry, we want it 5 inches, not 5.5. There. Okay, and then again, we'll click this. This holds all of this together because we grouped them. And then I want to hold shift, click the box, and then I want to go to align, which is up here. Go center, and then align middle, and then I've centered it in this panel. And then you can just go ahead and print it. So you go print. This is fine. It'll print actual size. You can do page setup, play around with your settings or whatever. But this one is fine. So you would just click print and it would shoot out on your printer, and you can then cut it out and color it how you like. If you want to do multiple copies, it might be hard because I am doing this a full sheet, like 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch. So if you wanted to print out 4 of these, you might lose some of these edges because of the bleed that happens. But like if you wanted to, again, you can click this, hold shift, click this, and then group these so that the whole image is grouped. And then you could try to, if you hold control down, you'll get this like little plus sign beside your cursor. It means it's going to copy it. It's kind of like other programs use Alt, I think, and then the same. Hold shift down, select both images, hold control and drag down. You can print out 4 copies, but again, if we go file, print, we want to make sure it's not scaling it. So, okay, yeah. So go to, for this particular document, page per sheet, you want to click, go scale to paper size, no scaling. And then you can print the sheet, but again, depending on your printer, you might lose a bit of the border, which is why I would recommend making it a bit smaller. It looks like when I print out, you see how this line doesn't go all the way to the edge, so that is where it is cutting off. So it's fine for this design, but just note that if you have images that are off, like beyond this little margin here, it'll probably get cut off unless your printer can print border to border. And then you can do it that way. This one again is fine because they would just cut straight and this would just be background area anyway. And then you can print 4 copies of them, color them 4 different ways, and then you'll have 4 different cards you can give away that are like a little bit different, but they're the same. So you're going to print and color this image and just do it 4 different ways. I kind of go through this a little bit more on Friday's video on how to mass produce but make adjustments to things, so stay tuned for that. But again, you can do the same thing for this. This is just a quick tutorial on how to use digital stamps, just because I am going to be doing more digital instead of physical because of the current trade problems with the US, and it's just easier. I actually really like using the digital stamps lately. I did a whole bunch of them for a workshop and it was great. It was just easy to print sheets of images, and then I used my dies to cut them out. Obviously I don't have dies to cut this out because it's a digital image, and then I resized the Happy Halloween so I can't even cut out mine from that. But it's just going to be a lot easier, a lot more fun. And I'll go through the pros and the cons of digital stamps in a future video. But as long as you have a decent printer and the cardstock that you like to color on, I would do it like a tester page first to make sure it goes through your printer. I have the Epson EcoTank 2800 series, I think. Not sponsored or affiliated, but that's the printer that I use. The ink lasts a lifetime. I've printed, I think it said over 530 some odd colored pages, like, and that was photos and everything, because I print 4x6 photos of all the cards that I make. And I still have half a cartridge of black ink, and that has been over the past couple of years, or year and a half maybe, that I've had this printer. And it still has a ton of color, like all the colors are only at like the 3/4 mark. So again, not sponsored or affiliated, but the Epson EcoTank is a decent printer and it's good for digital stamps. Just my recommendation. But test out whatever paper you use. I use the Hammermill cover stock, which is 110 pounds, I believe, in the bright white. And it's always linked in my description below. It's from Amazon. It's a little pricey, but it works well and it colors well. So, and it lasts a while. I use them for card bases and coloring. So anyway, you could print. I just printed the one. Again, I did this one earlier, so I printed that. So I will go over to coloring and you guys can just watch me color. I'll probably just play some music while I do that, and then maybe pop in when I'm done and do a little bit of a spiel, but this is pretty much my spiel for today. So yeah, I will head on over to coloring, play some music for you guys, and I will be back. Okay, so originally I was going to play some music, but now I'm actually going to go over the pros and cons of digital stamps now. I don't feel like I need a separate video later for that, and I think it's more important to say now, just because I am here showing you how to use the digital stamps. So I kind of made like a quick list of pros and cons, so I will kind of maybe go through them simultaneously because some of them are like connected, like it's a pro and a con. So my first pro is obviously that it's printable and there's no bleeding. So when you stamp with ink, the color tends to bleed a little bit on your cardstock and the lines become a little bit thicker. So the lines on my stamps are actually thinner than what they are when they stamp. So what I mean by that is, like, I have physical stamps, let's say of the Happy Haunting set, and then the digital copy of it. When I print out a digital copy, the lines are as intended thinner. But when I stamp them with my stamps, they do come out a little bit thicker because of the bleeding of the ink. And it does bleed a little bit no matter what kind of cardstock or ink that you use, especially if you're doing it with the dye inks, because the dye inks are better for Copic coloring or alcohol marker coloring. So it does affect the lines a little bit, which is a bit of a pro for the stamping, I would say, just because if you are the type of person that likes thicker lines, because thin lines become a little bit more difficult to color with the alcohol markers because they also bleed, then obviously the stamping's a little bit better. But for me, the digital stamps are a little bit better because I don't have to stamp twice like I do when I stamp with physical stamps. Because again, when I color with alcohol markers on the stamps, I find I have to restamp the images so that the black comes back a little bit better because it bleeds the color of the dye ink out a little bit, and I prefer to stamp, color, and then stamp again. But with the digital stamps, you don't have to do that. You can go over this image as many times as you want, and the color is not going to bleed out on the lines or the text or anything. Like, you'll see when I start coloring in the background, I'm going right over that Happy Halloween with no cares, no worries or anything. It's just really easy. So those are pros for that. Cons is you need a printer. Not everyone has a printer, but if you have access to a printer that you could use, maybe you go into the office a day or two a week, or you're there full time or whatever, and you can obviously check with your employer, but bring in the cardstock that you like to color in, do a tester page on it, and then maybe they'll allow you to print a few pages at the office, or you can take it into Staples and get it printed, or any other kind of place like Staples. I don't know, I'm in Canada, so I only know Staples. So yeah, so as long as you have access to a printer, you could set up the files, bring them in and get them printed, whether it's at your place of work or somewhere else where you would pay to get somebody else to do it. Another pro for the digital stamps is they're scalable and pretty much to any size you want, especially if you're using PNGs. And with the PNGs, if you save them, like when I save my images, I save them with transparent backgrounds, but I make sure the images themselves are colored in white so they're layerable. Whereas with stamping, you have to do masking and whatnot to prevent it from going over other images. And, you know, you got to start from the front and work your way back. Whereas with digital stamps, you want to start back, come front, but then you can like move the layers around any which way you want. So even if they're not in the order you want them in, you can kind of go into the program and bring this image forward, move that one back, kind of like what we did with the moon. Another pro is that you can mirror very quickly the images on here, and there's no issues with that. With stamping, you obviously have to do a few steps, like you have to stamp it onto another surface and then put your paper on that and pick up the ink and do that a couple of times. I find it very difficult to do sometimes, so mirrorability is much better on the digital stamps. And then with the digital stamps, you can print multiple copies, again, fairly quickly, because you just have to click and drag or copy and paste multiple images on one page, and you could do a full sheet of the same image. Like if you just wanted this witch, you could probably print her 6 times maybe on a full sheet of paper, and then just like fussy cut her out after. Or if you have a Brother scan and cut machine, you can scan the image and cut them out that way, which is another kind of con. Like you can't have dies for these, obviously, because you're printing them in every which way, with the exception of my physical and digital stamps, because I do have coordinating dies to go with my physical stamps. If you keep the digital stamps the same size as what they are set up in the system, then you can die cut those out. That is what I did with my Halloween card workshop that I did for work. I like literally printed sheets of a ton of different ghosts and pumpkins and whatnot, and then I die cut them all out. Originally I was going to do it on my scan and cut because it would have been faster, but I wanted to die cut them because I like the looks of it. So there's a little exception to the rule there. And for digital stamps, you can't change the color of them. Like if they are exported in black, they're going to print in black. There are exceptions where you can change the settings on your computer to maybe print it in grayscale and maybe print it a bit lighter at a different opacity. So if you change the opacity from a solid black to like a 50% or something like that, you have to play around with your settings. It would print it to a lighter gray, which would make it a little bit more like a lineless coloring method, which would be fun as well, maybe to try one day, where I just print images in light grays. I've done it before where I stamp in a light gray and then I use fine liners to go over the areas. So like her dress where it's purple, like I would go over with a darker purple fine liner and then color it in with purples. And it makes it look a little bit more lineless than this, but I like the way that the black looks on this. For the moon, we changed the color to a light gray, which is good. And it just basically so I could like outline that shape and color it the way I wanted it to. Technically, I didn't have to add the moon in the background, but I didn't want to freehand it afterwards. But that is something you could do if you wanted to. Like just print the Happy Halloween sentiment with the witch image and then just kind of like draw your own circle for the moon. But yeah, so again, I'm really loving using these digital stamps. and having fun with them. And I'm very excited because I have some older sketches that I would like to turn into digital stamps. So I will have more digital stamps coming. My physical copies of my stamps. Right now, the Happy Halloween is available digital in my Etsy shop, which will be linked down below because we used it here today. And then next week, I will be off for the week, so I will be spending the week working on store stuff and getting all of my physical stamps up on Etsy in digital format and in the physical format, because I will be closing down my website as well. It's just costing too much money to run, and it'll be easier for me just to move everything over to Etsy. Obviously they take a cut, but whatever, we'll figure that out. It's not that big of a deal because my products aren't super expensive or anything. So those of you who are outside of Canada who aren't able to purchase the physical sets can now purchase the digital sets as of next week. I'll send out an email to everybody in my email list, but I'll also announce it officially maybe in next Friday's video. Not this Friday, but the Friday after. And yeah, so this is just a quick tutorial on how to do digital stamps in Word. But if you would like me to also do one in the Google PowerPoint program, I can try that. Again, it was much more simple than the Google Docs. So yeah, so if you guys are interested, I can try it in different programs. And maybe I can try it a little bit harder on a few others, but myself, I always use Illustrator. So I will continue to do that for my own purposes. But if you guys want different ways of doing it, I can try to do some research and do that. But I found that Microsoft Word was the best program for me to use, and the Google Slides, which is like a PowerPoint program, because you just need to sign in with your Google account and it's free. So anyway, that's our video for today. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and let me know your thoughts. Have you tried digital stamps? Are you open to trying digital stamps? Let me know. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, what are you doing? Please subscribe because I would love to have you here. We have a bunch of fun videos and I'll have upcoming products. So yeah, anyway, I'm done rambling. So I will be back on Friday for another video. And until then, I hope you guys have a great week. And until next time, thanks guys. Bye.